Hello and welcome to my channel. DJ here again. I want to talk to you to this evening, and this evening is 8:10 at night because of this latest news I've received. Now, I did a presentation on the 24th of March regarding the Sentencing Council and their ideas of reducing sentences for overseas people, for immigrants. And I've got more news on this now, and it's from a writer called Stephen Barrett. Now, he's a barrister and a writer, and he's launched a scathing attack on the Sentencing Council. He's questioning who on earth are they to overrule Parliament and decisions on immigration offences. Speaking to the GB News, Barrett blasted the body as anti-democratic over new guidelines that could allow hundreds of illegal immigrants to avoid deportation. The guidelines, which set out below the crucial 12-month threshold for automatic deportation, have sparked controversy. Now, what they've done is they've said, well, I've already explained it before on the 24th of March, if you go back to that one, but we'll have a look here again. Barrett told the GB News, what we're seeing now is the apex of these anti-democratic manoeuvres. Effectively, what you have in the Sentencing Council is a political body that is unaccountable to anyone, to voters. They're not voted in, yet they are making these decisions. They're not accountable for their decisions. They use a sham process called consultation to make it look as if they're accountable. But of course, that's nonsense. Most of us don't know when the consultations are happening or taking part. They're not heavily publicised, and only people who are engaged in consultations will be the people obsessed with increasing migration into this country. So I'm sure this is still Mr. Barrett talking, and he's saying, I am sure that there are a lot of entries and submissions from NGOs, non-government organisations, and charities which profit from more migration into this country, saying what a jolly good idea it would be to reduce sentencing. But the fundamental core of this is it isn't whether that's right or wrong, because I want listeners who fully support migration to know how wrong it is. I want to feel in their bones this is not democratic. Sorry, yes, they're not accountable to anyone, which I thought I'd repeat it, but no, that's what he said. Who on earth are they? Who on earth are they? Who do they think they are to overrule Parliament? A faceless group of non-entities that none of us have heard of, none of us know them, and none of us can hold to account. Get rid of them. Under the new guidelines set out by the Sentencing Council, immigrants, this is what I said I'd get to, under the guidelines set out by the Sentencing Council, immigrants who commit offences such as knowingly entering without leave, deception and possession of false identity, with false identity documents would receive sentences falling short of the automatic deportation threshold. It has to be 12 months, you see, so they're recommending giving them less than 12 months, maybe 11 months, 10 months, and then they won't be deported. Research by Shadow Justice Secretary showed 120 criminals were sentenced for such offences between June and December 2022, when the Conservatives was in charge. The Council's starting point for sentencing falls below the 12-month sentence and threshold that triggers automatic deportation, which is what I said earlier. I digress from what he was saying, but to say what I knew, but it's come back to he's saying it as well. The Council's starting point for sentencing falls below the 12 months prison sentence, the threshold that triggers automatic deportation. The Justice Secretary, Sabana Mahood's personal representative, was present at all the meetings and no objections were minuted. That's that a Conservative spokesman said. But Miss Mahood expressed her displeasure at the body's recommendations, arguing that, as someone who is from an ethnic minority myself, I do not stand for any differential treatment before law. Well, no, you shouldn't do, because we should all be equal under the same law, and the law should be the law of the country. Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, said he was disappointed with the Sentencing Council's refusal to change guidance, and that all options are on the table over how the government might respond. She had recommended the guidance be reversed. That's Mahood. She recommended the guidance be reversed, but because the Sentencing Council is independent, she cannot order them to change their mind. So they refused. Responding to the news of her request had been rejected, Miss Mahood said, I have been clear in my view that these guidelines represent differential treatment, under which someone's outcome may be influenced by their race, culture or religion. This is unacceptable, and I formally set out my objections to this letter to the Sentencing Council last week. I am extremely disappointed by the Council's response. All options on the table, and I will legislate if necessary, which is the same as what her boss, the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, said, isn't it? Which I read out earlier. So no change there. The Council are ignoring them and have made these rules for the judges and magistrates to apply, and it's sort of two fingers in the face of the judge of the government. Yeah. In a recent review, the Sentencing Council decision has prompted claims of two-tier justice from the Conservatives, with Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick arguing it would be very corrosive to public trust and confidence in the criminal justice system if enacted. In a recent interview with Sky News, he accused the Council of setting rules which will make custodial sentences less likely from those from an ethnic minority, a cultural minority, or a faith minority community. Well, of course they will. That's what they're designed for. He said if they were put into, they're going in April, in a few days' time. To me, this is blatant bias, particularly against Christians and against straight white men, Mr. Jenrick said. Either this is a policy of the Justice Secretary, or she changed her mind, but this was her policy, or she was asleep at the wheel. Well, we'll see. Following the Sentencing Council's response, he said, Shabana Mahood has been humiliated by the Sentencing Council. In 3 days' time, we will have a two-tier sentencing because of her and two-tier Kia. It is shameful they sat on their hands and chose not to legislate to prevent two-tier justice. Yes, it is. But as he said, as we heard earlier, her representative was on every meeting, and it's not minted he said anything against these new introduced sentencing laws. Or rules. So perhaps he didn't realise, and perhaps he or she, I don't know who it was, and he's not named, but perhaps he or she didn't notice and didn't tell Shabana. Who knows? Is it the blind leading the blind? In his letter to Miss Mahood, no, let me tell you who this is. In setting out the changes, Sentence Review Body Chair, Lord Justice William Davis said the reform reflects evidence of disparities in sentencing outcomes, disadvantages faced within the criminal justice system, and complexities in the circumstances of individual offenders. Well, yes, it does, but he's got it the wrong way around, hasn't he? If everybody was under the same law, that wouldn't be a disadvantage. It wouldn't reflect disparities if everybody was sentenced under the same laws. But what he's saying is it reflects these things, so he's tried to alter them by making disparities. It's, isn't it? there's disparities because everybody's treated equal. So we won't treat them equal, and then we'll have disparities between white and black and white and brown and black and Christianity and Buddhism, Christianity and Buddhism and Islam. It's madness. But they don't seem to see it. So in his letter to Miss Murray, he said that while it was not the role of the judiciary to introduce policies to redress the imbalance, those responsible for handing down sentences must do all they can to avoid a difference in outcomes based on ethnicity. Well, he's saying to avoid differences, and then he's creating the differences by having different sentences depending on the background of the individual. So he's turning right, wrong, wrong, right, red, black, red. What he's it takes the words out of my mouth, doesn't it? What I've put here is I've put down. I think it's gobbledygook. What a drivel and meaningless in terms of understanding. Sentencing Review Body Chair Lord Justice William Davis argued that in allowing judges access to pre-sentence reports, they will be better equipped to do that if they have much more information as possible about the offender. Will allow them to do what? Change the sentence, obviously. Make it, you're different. You're offender from a different religion, from a different background, maybe an illegal immigrant, so you don't understand our laws. We'll give you a different sentence. Nonsense, rubbish. Because ignorance of the law is no excuse, they say. But he's saying, and he's the chair of this Justice Sentencing Committee, he's saying the opposite. That ignorance of the law is a defence. It does take my breath away. The cohort of ethnic, cultural and faith minority groups may be a cohort about which judges and magistrates are less well informed, he added. So he's actually said it now. Cohort of ethnic, cultural and faith minority groups may be a cohort that judges and magistrates are less informed. So he wants them to be informed about their religion before they sentence. Got nothing to do with it, has it? If they commit a crime, they commit a crime. Oh, I committed a crime, but I'm not a Christian, I'm a Muslim, so, I didn't realise. I can throw acid in the face because it's something that happens in our country. They're not in their country anymore, are they? I'll probably have a knock on the door for saying that, but the police, you said something racist. I didn't. I said something from fact. Okay? Pushing back against suggestions that providing judges with pre-sentencing reports could lead to more lenient sentences, Lord Justice Davis wrote, the crucial point is that pre-sentence reports will provide information for the judge or magistrates, but it will not determine the sentence. Then why does he need it? He said earlier that it did. That it would better. It said the pre-sentencing reports would better equip them with more information about the possible offender. Now he's saying it won't make any difference. Well, then they don't need it then. If it's not going to make any difference, why does he want it in? Again, it's this upside down business. Rather it will leave the judge or this is the justice saying again, this chairman. Rather it will leave the judge or magistrate better informed about the offender. Frequently the information provided will not assist the offender's prospect of avoiding custodial sentence, rather the reverse. Another upside down thinking. Downing Street rejected Mr. Kenrick, that's the Shadow Justice Secretary's assertion that the Justice Secretary had been humiliated by the Sentencing Council, saying she's been in dialogue with the Sentencing Council throughout and she's made her views clear. As she said, all options remain on the table and that includes legislating if necessary. Better get done quickly. It starts in April, a few days' time. But if they're saying she was in dialogue throughout, then why didn't she know they was going to do it? See, you got the sentencing panel saying upside down, and then you've got the government spokesman upside down as well. Oh, she was in talking with them, but she didn't realise, she didn't know, but she was talking to them. Sentencing won't make any difference, but the judges need to know. It's not going to make any difference. Why? You see, it's gobbledygook, as I said. So that's going to be a lot for today, for tonight. And I hope you'll subscribe to the channel, that you get this news from me as soon as I can get it myself. I will pass it on to you, and I'll make it easier to understand. It takes some time to understand some of this. I have got a slight law and government background, and I was a lecturer, so I hope I can make things easier. So if I do and you like them, please subscribe to my channel. And you know the jingle. Doesn't cost you a penny, doesn't cost you a cent, doesn't even cost you a rupee. It's totally free. So do subscribe. It helps me to continue. And the more I get subscriptions, it means, and I say they don't cost you anything, it means more people will be sending me the news for me to disseminate to you. So please, please, please subscribe to the channel. And until the next one, what I'm going to wish you is be good, be safe, and goodbye from DJ. Bye for now. Bye.